Hey, what is up guys? This is Bharat Nagpal for iGyaan, and today we're going to be reviewing the new Gionee ELife E6. Now, Gionee launched this phone a couple of weeks back with a lot of fanfare and a lot of excitement in the online space. We're going to find out if this device is actually worthy of all that attention. So let's begin with the review. The first thing we're going to talk about is the build quality. Now, the Gionee E6 is actually built from a single slab of polycarbonate that not only feels good, but from initial impressions, I actually thought that it was metal. So before I'd actually seen the device, it appeared to be a metallic phone and not a sort of polycarbonate plastic phone that it actually is. Now you have two colors on the device, the white color, which is a glossy color, and it is good because it does not attract fingerprints, or even if it does attract fingerprints, they don't appear to show on the white color. And I personally, a fan of white colors, like the white color a lot more. Now the black is not that bad either. The black is a matte finish black color, and again, it sort of avoids fingerprints because a glossy black color phone would attract a lot of fingerprints. This one does not, thanks to the fact that it is a matte color. Now the buttons are really nice and metallic. So on the white color, you can see that you have steel buttons or aluminum buttons. Actually, they're not steel buttons, they're aluminum buttons, and they quite replicate the iPhone in terms of design and overall aesthetic appeal. So I can place this next to an iPhone and see that the buttons have sort of been designed in that manner. So if I look at this device, I can see that the buttons appear to be almost of the same design and the same sort of aesthetic appeal. If I look at it from this side, I can see that the SIM card tray has been designed in the similar manner. So overall look and feel of the device has been inspired from the iPhone, and I'm not going to take away from that. They've actually kept the iPhone as the benchmark for this design, and they've sort of taken from that. And it's not a bad design. In fact, it is a very premium looking device. It appears to be very premium. It behaves like a very premium device, and it actually feels like a really premium device. So let's get into the hardware of the E6 and talk about what powers this device and what all is on it. So we talk about the inside. We have a MediaTek 6589T chipset, which is a turbo version of the 6589 chipset. So you get 1.5 gigahertz on the quad cores, and it seems to be fairly responsive and snappy for the device. We also get 2 GB of RAM, which is incredible because most of the players in the market offer only 1 GB of RAM. You get a full HD display over at the front, which is also really impressive because in most cases you get a 720p display. So you get a 5-inch full HD display, decent processor, 2 gigs of RAM, and 32 GB of inbuilt storage, which is not expandable. So the fact that you can't expand the storage will be a downside for a lot of people, and the fact that the battery is non-replaceable is a downside for some people. 20 milliamp hour on the battery life, so you get a 20 milliamps on the battery, which is pretty good for this device. Now let's get into usability and performance. So the device actually runs a customized or a custom skin version of Android 4.2, and the company is working really hard to give out Android 4.3. Now this is slightly different from the Android OS or the Amigo UI that Gionee had promised when we saw the device earlier. Visiting China, we saw the device, it was running the new Amigo UI that these guys have been working on. In fact, the Chinese version of the E6, which is already available in China, does have the Amigo UI, and it is a fantastic overlay over Android, and it actually offers a lot of things that have unfortunately not been ported to the global version or the Indian version of the device. So a slight bit of disappointment there because the UI you see here is sort of the same UI available on the E5 as well. So in terms of responsiveness, it is not the best. In fact, the Amigo UI is a lot faster. Now, if you get into the camera, you'll see that the camera is fairly responsive and it does a good job of clicking pictures, etc. And you do have this card style layout, which lets you quit running applications simply by scrolling them up. So they've tried and added a bunch of nifty features, but somehow these features also slow down the performance and sort of bring down the overall appeal of the device. So I can press this button to pull out my running applications in a card style format, which also sort of inspires again from what the iPhone offers. So if you double tap on that, on the home button on the iPhone, you get a card style layout in iOS 7, whereas in Palm, you had this with the Palm Pre about 2 to 3 years ago. So whether it takes it from Palm or whether it takes it from the new iPhone layout, you have this multi-card design which lets you scroll up to quit and a running application, which is a fun way or a fun task manager to get around. So from the overall usage perspective, the phone is very responsive and you have a nice and large dialer. It is really easy to use and network performance is really good on this device. In fact, if you get into messaging over here, you'll see that the keyboard is fairly nice and convenient to type on. They have sort of customized the keyboard. Again, it is sort of identical to what you see on the iPhone, but it also retains the Android layout over here. So you get a stock Android sort of keyboard that has sort of been skinned to appear like an iPhone keyboard that does function really well, and touch response is really good. You also have predictive text that works really well. You can also convert from portrait to landscape. There is a slight lag there as well. So the device is not the most responsive, and I will agree to that. The device is not the most responsive. But one thing I like is the fact that the soft buttons are not within the screen, they're at the bottom, so it doesn't take away from the real estate. Also, a lot of unwanted applications have been loaded onto the device, which I am not really happy about. So NQ mobile security, UC browser, these things I personally don't want on my device. Another feature of the overall interface is that you don't have an app drawer. So everything or all your apps are laid out on your home screen like so, like you would see on an iPhone. So again, the UI is inspired from an iPhone and you don't have an app drawer to go to. But you can go into all the set of settings that you can for Android. So you can go into your settings over here. So you get a list of common settings that you would use on a daily basis. So you can jump into wireless LAN or Bluetooth, ringtone or display, and then choose or change the settings of common things. Or you can go into all settings over here and then figure out all your settings. So again, the settings panel is customized or has been skinned to appear to be a lot more bright and vivid. They've added some colors over here. The font is really nice and clean. So it appears to be a lot more subtle than, say, what stock Android looks like. But then again, some people prefer the stock Android look and then some people prefer skins. I personally prefer skins, and the skin looks really nice. Now, a couple of features that have been retained from the Amigo UI. If you're in the lock screen, you can scroll towards the right to get the camera interface. You can quickly take a picture from here, and it does a fairly quick job of clicking pictures, and you won't even notice when it clicks a picture, saves it to your library. You can also pull out the LED flash real quick. So you can press the torch button and it'll open up the LED flash and turn the camera off. So in case you need an emergency flashlight, just pull from here, press the torch button. Easy to go, as easy as that. You also have a video record feature over here, and you can also record audio. So I'm quickly recording audio while I'm over here. So in case you need to record something, you can just take a quick audio note if you want to do that. In the normal Amigo UI that we saw, we could scroll from the left and get the Amigo interface, which we can't over here. A lot of voice enabled features are not available. That being said, you do get Google Now, as you can see over here. So I can search for things that I want with Google Now. What is the meaning of life? And it will create that search for me. Now, gaming was not the most wonderful feature on this device, and a lot of games don't play as well as they do on other devices, and that is sort of disappointing for us. So I'm guessing they will be pushing out software updates to improve the gaming quality, but at the moment gaming is not as great as it could have been, and in some cases it's actually disappointing. Let's talk about the camera on the device. The camera is a really nice camera module. The colors are really well saturated. It does not overexpose your pictures, and low light performance is really good from the camera. The camera clicks pictures really fast, and the user interface is really fast and responsive. Or your capture modes, you can also turn out your change around your capture option. So you can touch to click a shot, or you can do gestures. So if you're placing the phone away from you, you can just simply make a V in front of the device and it'll click a picture. It also has smile shots, so anytime somebody smiles, it'll click a picture. You also have white balance settings, some color effects, some phone booth settings, so you can put in a sort of frame or a colorful frame if you would like to do that. I personally have not used that. HDR photography is really good with this. It actually does create some really nice HDR shots, which is actually really surprising because we've not seen any camera do really nice HDR with the MediaTek chipset, and this one does. You also get continuous shot settings. You can have up to 99 continuous shots of burst shots. You can also set your exposure, brightness, etc. So you get a lot of features when it comes to images, and you get a bunch of features when it comes to video as well. So you can set your white balance, some color effects, and then you can also turn on electronic image stabilization, which is a sort of digital version of optical image stabilization. It does work fairly well, and you can check out our sample videos for a quick example of how this device works when it comes to image stabilization. In conclusion, we feel that the Gionee ELife E6 is one of the most well-built devices that you can get in this price range. In terms of performance, the hardware is quite capable, and you have a really beautiful, brilliant full HD display out here in the front. The cameras are great, the optics are fantastic, the audio quality is superb. So all in all, the device not only looks good, it performs decently well. The software has not been tweaked the way we saw it in China and the way it is available in China to most of the consumers of the Chinese version of the E6, and that is sort of disappointing. Hopefully the company can bring out some of the features that they showed off earlier so that everyone can enjoy all those things. But that being said, both the black color, white color, really appealing and premium looking devices for a budget price that offer a lot more than most budget phones do in this price segment. Two downsides, of course, the fact that you don't have an expandable storage capacity, although 32GB is fairly impressive for this device. Expandability would have been nice. And the second downside, that you can't swap out the battery. You do have a 20 milliamp hour battery, but the company promises excellent support when it comes to service, and it promises software updates on a frequent basis. So let's hope and let's see if the company can live up to its promise, and we can see some real nice things happening with the E6. As far as we are concerned, it's one of the better devices to buy in this price segment. So if you're in the price range of about 20,000 rupees, this device will not disappoint you if you're not looking for extreme performance, but if you're looking for a well-rounded off device which offers you good looks and great performance, the E6 is your phone. For questions and queries, do drop them in the comment section below. Do visit our full review on iGyaan.in. Catch us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/iGyaan, youtube.com/iGyaanTV. For iGyaan Networks, this has been Bharat Nagpal. Thank you guys for watching.